I started working for Bigger Than Life back in 2017. And as for why I decided to join the program is when I was doing Miss Alex pageant back in 2016, and I was only 13. I struggled with expressing myself. So when the opportunity to be on radio came, I thought, let me try and do something that would let me be more of myself and not what my pageant instructor wanted me to be. So it was more of like expressing who I am.
I also joined the program in 2017. I was in grade 12 at that time, and I wanted a platform to express myself in terms of addressing youth issues. So I saw this post about Bigger Than Life on Facebook, and I came to audition on the Saturday, and I was chosen, and I've been with it ever since.
We choose topics based on what's trending at the moment and how does it affect the young people in our community. And then we sometimes look at what each month signifies, and then when we look at that, then we try and elaborate to people why is it important for young people to celebrate or acknowledge that type of month. Or sometimes we like speaking about topics that are not really known in our community, just to provoke their thoughts a little and to let them know that some things like climate change are known. And sometimes we like touching on what's happening in the community, just like gun violence or crime. Like when it comes to gun violence in our community, like you can't really put a ratio on it. You can't really say it comes in this form or it comes in that form, because it's really unconventional. You hear stories about a boyfriend killing his girlfriend using a gun every now and then, or sometimes stories like people getting mugged at gunpoint. Those stories are heard more oftenly in our community. And also with the Nyaupe drug on the rise in our community, Nyaupe users are known to mug people at gunpoint. But also it's not politically related. I can't say it's really political related or gang related. It's really just crime most of the time.
I feel like it also has to do with the gang relation, because most of the gang members are people our age, and it starts little by little with peer pressure, having your friends influence you to start doing certain things, and then in most cases it starts with outfits. You can't afford a certain outfit or certain pair of sneakers, and then now you're joining a group of gangs, and now you're starting crime in order to get money to buy that certain pair of sneakers and stuff like that. So I feel like it's also gang related in terms of the gang members being the youth.
Yeah. And sometimes with the inequality and the poverty in our community, that does push young people into being in gangs or start selling the Nyaupe drug in order to make money. And in order to do that, they have to have guns in order to protect themselves from other people, right? Or to intimidate other people. I feel like before we can even start with influencing or the gun laws, people should know the gun laws first. And then after, we can go through submissions and other forms of advocacy in order to make sure that we let the government know that we want stricter gun laws. And in order for that to be a successful goal, we need to get a group of people so that our submission can be approved faster. Because most of the times when you send a submission and you're alone, and then it takes time for the parliament to approve it. So if it's like a group of people sending a group of submissions saying the same thing, then I think it will be approved faster.
I agree with Jennifer in terms of educating people on how to learn about gun laws and letting them know that they're able to write submissions and stuff like that. But at the same time, I feel like gun laws should be increased and made stricter in terms of having the age restriction increased from 21 to maybe 25 and above, because a person at the age of 21 is not matured enough to be owning a gun, and they still have that social life of going to parties at night, and they feel that if I have a gun, I'm protected and superior. And then I also feel like anyone with an illegal gun should be like punished for a longer sentence. So if they spend maybe 7 years in jail, they could maybe spend 15 years and above and not get the privileges of having an education in jail, running businesses and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because it puts them in their comfort in terms of them feeling like, when I'm in jail, I'm still at home. Some of them don't even want to get out of jail. When they have to get out, they kill other people so that they remain in jail because they've got nice privileges. So I feel like when you're in jail for owning an illegal gun, it should be stricter, and you should feel the punishment that you are in prison for doing something wrong.
Back on how our show can help young people or other neighborhoods stem from gun violence is, like I said, like I always say all the time, information changes situation and knowledge is power. So if you don't have knowledge, then you don't have power. So what our show does is we give young people information about gun violence so that they are aware of what's happening around them and they know the statistics about gun violence and the facts about gun violence. So in that way, I feel like we're giving people power, and that's how we're making them speak up about issues that like gun violence that they don't feel right about because they have the information about it.
If they have the information and they are aware, they also realize that they are being affected, whether directly or indirectly, by gun violence. So, also that we give them the platform to share their opinion and also give solutions to what we could do as a community in terms of reducing gun violence. And we also invite them to the show in terms of them giving their opinion through being recorded on the recorder, sending in voice notes, and sometimes having them when you host outreaches and workshops for gun violence. So I feel like with that, they feel the presence that we also are involved in trying to reduce gun violence, and that's how they also are able to help us in giving their opinion.
And as for if the community is like aware of gun violence, I think they are aware because this thing is like happening inside or outside their homes, around the township. So everyone knows that there's something called gun violence in Alexandra. Everyone is aware of it. You can see I'm a young person and I'm talking about issues that affect other young people. But I've never gotten the opportunity to go to a children's parliament because in South Africa we do have a children's parliament. So then in order for me to get there, I'll have to go through a lot. And maybe even if I send an application, it will take time for me to get to that place or for my application to be approved. So I think one way in which young people can be heard is by getting to the children's parliament. But I mean, it's that opportunity is limited. It's only for certain type of people in the country, not disadvantaged people like us.
I also feel like the youth is not heard because there's also traditional customs that are a barrier towards us being able to express ourselves, because we always have to look at boundaries that we deal with in terms of expressing ourselves, and there's some things that become a taboo to us as Black people when you talk about them, like teenage having sex and all that. So it's always a taboo that our parents look at us like, why do you know of such things at a young age? Why do you have to talk about these things? This is adult stuff and stuff like that. So I feel like the voice of the youth is not really heard because of the boundaries that traditional customs are setting towards us.
The government can pretty much get involved, and it can help in a huge way. I think by starting to support initiatives such as Gun Free South Africa, and also supporting initiatives like foundations like Sharon's Zero Foundation. And as for inequality, I think the government should improve the quality of our education, especially kids in townships, because yes, we are equal, but there's no equity practiced. So I think more than just equality, they should also practice equity and put us all on the same playing field so that we are all equal and there is equity practiced. So I think in inequality, the government should improve the quality of our education. And also, as for opportunities, make the children's parliament available for anyone. As long as you're a young person and you have an issue that you feel like you need to speak about on parliament and children's parliament in specific, I think we should also be given opportunities as young people living in townships, because usually the children's parliament is for the elite. And I don't understand how someone who's elite understands what it feels like to live in a township, what it feels like to wake up in a shack or go to school without eating, or to be always concerned about your safety. So I feel like people who aren't in townships should be allowed to speak for themselves in such platforms.
Yeah, I feel like it should also have maybe more of the youth, people that understand the backgrounds where we come from and stuff like that, being given a voice by the government, maybe in parliament, having young leaders to start with, and our submissions being read and something being done about that, because that's another thing. The lack of moral support from the government is another thing that is draining the people that are trying to voice out their opinions or express themselves, because things are being said but nothing is being done. So firstly, there must be action being done towards everything that is laid as a complaint or that is said out or expressed by the people that live in communities that are struggling.
Yeah, and because most of the cabinet in South Africa and parliament is old people, and I don't understand how old people understand what young people today are going through. So I feel like if it's a young person speaking to the parliament and to the government, letting them know how we are feeling as young people today, I think that will make a huge difference. If the ANC starts taking a step back and looking at what young people have to offer and seeing if they can bring anything of value in terms of solving the problems that we have as young people, I think that will be better. like, just please listen to young people. Young people know what they're talking about. Just listen to young people and yeah, give them power.
And I just want to say that prevention is better than cure. So if we start preventing the rise or the increase in gun violence, then we can like deal with less problems in terms of South Africa or our community dealing with gun violence, and we could be a safer space.